So it seems now that apparently we're breaking news on this channel, which is not something I really want to do in the future, but it's too hard to avoid right now. Yes, the Call of Duty League is now being called out by, as of me speaking, a couple of top names out there. Clayster and Envoy have taken to Twitter to say some things that we have not seen said about the CDL in a long time. And will they receive fines? I don't know. I sure hope not. All of this around the CDL Kickoff Classic event, which unfortunately did not really reveal too much for someone like Clayster. You know, if you go home so soon, you don't get too much out of the event. But what he did get was COVID-19. Yes, he has now gone off on Twitter several times ever since me even hitting the record button to actually call out the Call of Duty League, even going so far as to say, you know, what the heck are you doing? Absolutely brain dead as of their COVID regulations, apparently for players and potentially for viewers as well, not requiring a negative test, at least, you know, not close enough to the event. And Envoy goes on to call out no mask being at the event, or at least very sparsely used, amongst other things that the CDL Kickoff did not use for really good regulations to keep their players and all of those attending truly safe. And this is going to get pretty nuts. As he first and foremost tweeted a very clearly positive COVID-19 test, saying, "Really happy I had to attend a meaningless kickoff single elimination event without proper testing and regulations. Effing pathetic." He continued, "If you're going to be downplaying COVID in my comments or my mentions, I need you to swiftly unfollow me, you ignorant morons." And to that point, let's just get this right out of the way, all right? You can't see yourself from these pros' shoes. A lot of people out there not seeing COVID as a serious issue for, you know, people of relatively around our age, right? But you think about a pro player who has to go to practice a lot of times during the day and how this will impact his schedule, especially when they really got nothing out of this event, or at least that's in his own words. You had to travel for the event and come back home, and what happens? Well, if you're around a partner or if you're around family, well, you can't be any longer. You literally have to quarantine yourself from your partner or from your friends and family, potentially from your team if you practice out of a facility. And imagine if you are, of course, luckily enough, a lot of us younger types, we will be fine. We're not going to be passing away from this. But you think about some people who have been hit very hard. He went to an event which he calls meaningless. He comes back, has to quarantine, impacts his practice, impacts his real life, and it could impact his physical health to the point where that does impact a lot of other things. Let's say he does come down pretty hard and might be bedridden, or might have, some breathing issues, or might just be very tired all day long. That too is something he's going to have to pay for at least a week or two, because that CDL did not follow regulations. There's a lot of greater impacts out there, at least for quality of life, that a pro player probably, if they, could have avoided, they would wish that the regulations there would have helped them avoid. All right? So that's where he's coming from. I imagine Clayster might be speaking more on exactly what issues this will cause him, but let's get it straight, all right? It's a huge inconvenience, and for some people, it's the end of their life to get COVID. So, forgive him for being upset about this for obvious reasons. As now we have Envoy going, "Not surprised teams are testing positive. Record cases around the world. Why would we risk it for a 30K kickoff event? And on top of that, the CDL is still not doing the minimum at the event to keep the players safe." He went on to even say, in reply to Clayster, "Let's promote no mask in the front row all weekend too. Barely 6 feet from our walkout places. Look, the event is lit. I'm watching staff have masks on their chins, talent taking pictures with fans, and seeing them back on stage minutes after." To which, of course, Clayster had to quote that. And then very lastly, he said, "Some of my mentions truly give me no hope. And also, don't worry, guys. I'll just get all my medical advice from Dr. Joe Rogan. Might as well shoot up some horse dewormer while I'm at it. Anyone got that monoclonal antibodies since it's class-based treatment, and I'm rich." I don't know anything that he just said there, but he's making fun of Joe Rogan, and I might just use that as a title in the future. But let's just state the obvious. All right, guys, a lot of people out there tweeting the guidelines, at least for the viewers and attendees, that no negative test was required. Just don't show up if you feel symptoms. That's not good enough. Not in today's age. And of course, you think back to, I think, last year's CDL event, at least a couple of them, you had people coming home and all of a sudden coming down and contracting these symptoms in a very serious time. You look towards the recent Halo LAN at Raleigh as well. Dozens of people took to Twitter, especially pro players, saying, "Hey, I got it," and they might have followed more strict regulations than this CDL event did. Who's to say we're not going to be seeing a lot more pros testing positive, and that greatly impacts the future of these homestand potential LAN events. And I greatly understand Clayster's frustration. Nobody wants to be home more than they have to be, and nobody wants to get COVID. Well, at least most people don't want to. And it is a very scary time of not knowing what's going to happen if you do get it and the consequences you'll have to suffer through because someone was negligent, that being an event which, albeit he wasn't forced to go as far as we know, but imagine the backlash he was going to face if he didn't decide to go. And it wasn't until he was probably there where he realized, hey, the conditions here, they kind of suck. He is now called out Call of Duty League not only being pathetic, but also partially brain dead, which is pretty aggressive terms. And we're going to find out if they're going to fine him for this or if they're going to pay the consequences and admit to the fact they were negligent and they handled this the complete wrong way. We await a statement and a response from the CDL on the issue, and hopefully this will not impact any future events. Instead, the events will look at this and say, hey, we don't want to be called out by Clayster or Envoy. We should do better. And that's what we all should be doing a little bit of better, and maybe drinking some water and coffee. Okay, till next time, take care. Shouts to you, Clayster. You have earned the award for biggest balls of the day. Okay, bye.